The only reason Three's Company is worth remembering is it gave us a chance to celebrate joy together, to open our hearts together, to share in such a healing, beautiful thing as laughter.
Laughter is a contagious and beautiful thing. There's a reason why so many of the most popular and long-lasting shows of all time are comedies. But that doesn't mean the atmosphere behind the scenes on these shows is always upbeat. Long-standing feuds can threaten to tear the cast apart forever. Joyce DeWitt, Suzanne Summers, and John Ritter led the classic comedy Three's Company. They were close off camera until a feud tore the girls apart. They refused to speak to each other until a well-timed final opportunity for redemption came. Keep watching to hear Joyce DeWitt's heartbreaking confession about Suzanne Summers. Early experiences on the show. Joyce appeared on the show for 171 episodes from 1976 to 1984 and called the experience a gift. She said all they were ever trying to do was make people laugh, and the show was like a, quote, contemporary version of a 16th century farce. John Ritter used to say he wanted viewers not only to laugh, but to fall off their chairs because they were laughing so hard. Joyce feels it wasn't just the comedy, but the connections between the characters that drew in audiences. She also said, quote, the most dear, precious, tender, and utterly unexpected experiences that have come from working in Three's Company are the many, many adults who have told me that Three's Company was a safe haven they could count on during their teen years. For some, the only safe haven. Joyce and Suzanne's feud. Unedited photos from the Three's Company set show Joyce and Suzanne as friends and collaborators. Tensions were boiling beneath their smiles. Suzanne was just as much a part of the show's success as any of the male actors, and she wanted her pay to reflect that. She wanted a 500% increase in her salary, bumping it up from $30,000 to $150,000. That began to strain her relationship with Joyce and her other co-stars. It wasn't just a moment of greed. She was a single mother with a child to support. Joyce was alone but fully focused on acting for acting's sake. The amount of money you got for it didn't matter for her. She knew John was the show's star, but she felt her position was secure. One of the girls might go, but they couldn't remove both of them without losing what made the show so great in the first place. Suzanne was fired from the show, but also contractually obligated to finish the 5th season. Her husband, Alan Hamill, who represented her in the negotiations, said the studio denied her request as a way to discourage other actresses from asking for more money as well. The camaraderie on set was gone. She filmed her scenes via phone conversations. She was isolated from the rest of the cast and escorted out by security. The show's core dynamic was torn apart. Suzanne's character, Chrissy, was first replaced by her cousin, Cindy Snow, played by Jenny Lee Harrison. She was then replaced by nurse Terry Alden from 1981 until the show ended in '84. The rift in the cast seemed permanent. Suzanne and Joyce didn't speak to each other again for 30 years. In fact, she said, quote, they painted me as trying to ruin the show, so I never talked to anybody on that show ever again. Reunited, and it feels so good. The members of Three's Company, fortunately, didn't have to stay away from each other forever. The whole cast got a chance to reunite on Suzanne's talk show, Breaking Through. Suzanne thought about passing the opportunity up. She said,
one of my producers came up to me and she said, I took the liberty of calling Joyce DeWitt, and she said that she'd be amenable to coming on the show. And I said, who gave you authorization to go to Joyce DeWitt? I don't want to talk to Joyce DeWitt. We haven't talked in 30 years. I don't want to talk to Joyce DeWitt. So I'm in New York. I go back to my hotel room that night and I'm lying there thinking, well, that is stupid, Suzanne. I mean, it's been 30 years and she's open, and why don't you have the largesse to accept this? So the next day I came in and I said, let's do this. So when she came around the bend, I hugged her, and it was a genuine hug. I hugged this woman and I just held it. And I thought, how stupid we are, how long it takes to grow up. And that's what it was.
It gave them a chance to break through any animosity they may have still had, saying,
it's time. Wow, it's been over 30 years since Joyce and I have seen each other, so I have to admit I'm a little nervous.
That helped clear the air. Then they addressed the salary disputes that tore them apart. Suzanne said,
when I came to Three's Company, I had come from being, a single mother. I needed money. I really needed money. I was so happy to get this job because I was finally going to make some money. I walked in and all I could think of was, oh my God, if this just goes 13 weeks, I was counting up the money I could make. But you came from UCLA. You were in the theater department, probably on scholarship, knowing you. You were plucked out by a talent scout. John had studied acting, had been on the Waltons. So everybody's theater, and I'm there going, I was so happy to make some money.
They also acknowledged their differing approaches to seeking fame.
I really never wanted any attention, which is why becoming famous, I just tried to hide as much as
You
possible.
had a hard time with being famous.
I did. I ran. I have often said to friends, you know, when the press would come into the room, John would be hysterical, you would graciously hold court, and I would hide.
I remember that.
And that's
Right.
so,
Right.
it took me a very long time, and it's really only, I think in this calendar year, literally,
Really?
I am finally finding my way with it. Isn't that bizarre?
I couldn't figure it out. Like, why don't you want to be famous? It's
I
so
know.
incredible to be famous.
I know.
How many people get to be famous?
I know.
No one was really sure why the cast chose now to reunite. They decided to bring up that in their discussion as well.
My question to you is, why did you say yes today? Why'd you come?
It's time. I think that you gave me the opportunity to make sure I walk my talk. For the last 30 odd years, whenever something about Three's Company comes up, I have relentlessly said that it is my opinion that the only reason Three's Company is worth remembering is that it created an opportunity for all of us to laugh together, to celebrate joy. It's a profound gift. And if others have brought up to me scuttlebutt or whatever might happen, and I would go, listen, the only reason Three's Company is worth remembering is it gave us a chance to celebrate joy together, to open our hearts together, to share in such a healing, beautiful thing as laughter.
Suzanne was still business-minded, but used that to make a thriving career. She had a Las Vegas act, then became a talk show host, author, and health and beauty business. Any animosity over their differing approaches had left. Joyce said she respected what her co-star had been able to do in her career. She said, quote, "You went up against ruthlessness, and it came down. But what you've gone on to do is immeasurable." They also paid their respects to co-star John Ritter, who died the same year. They reminisced about how he was the best physical comic of their age and how he brought out the best in them. They remained friends until Suzanne died in 2023, though she said in other interviews that they weren't as close as before.
Do you talk to each other now?
And email, right. We're very different people, so it's never going to be great friends.
Even still, a lot of healing went on. They had gone from stars who couldn't be in the same room to ones who could talk, hug, and acknowledge what their work together had done for each other and the world at large. Joyce acknowledges her friend's death. Suzanne had battled several types of cancer throughout her life. She thought of it as a formidable adversary she had to continually defeat. She lost the battle to breast cancer October 15, 2023. There was a private family burial and memorial. Joyce reached out to give her condolences. She said, quote, "My heart goes out to Suzanne's family. They are a very close family, deeply connected and caring one to the other. I can only imagine how difficult this time is for all of them." Joyce's life and career since Three's Company. Joyce took a break from acting for over a decade after Three's Company ended. She'll always be connected to the show because of its comedy and characters. In 2023, she appeared in the music video for the Davison Brothers Band's song Home. It includes an improvised performance where the camera pans to the three main Three's Company stars. She did manage to have a prolific theater career. She never wanted fame, but always wanted to do what she loved. She went to the theater after leaving TV. She did stage work on productions such as Olympus on My Mind, Leader of the Pack, and Noises Off. Joyce returned to TV in the 1990s. She appeared in single episodes of shows like Sybil and Hope Island and the made-for-TV movie Spring Fling. She's also engaging in philanthropy, though she's careful about which causes she supports. She says, quote, "You have to make very clear choices about where you're going to put your energy and your devotion in order to be a part of the solution and not the problem, to actually show up and be of value." Joyce chose to work to help end hunger. She appeared at events such as the Presidential End Hunger Awards and Kennedy Center's World Food Day Gala. She's also used her talents for St. Jude's Research Hospital. She sang at a nightclub show to help raise money for them. Joyce DeWitt's life and talent is inspiring, especially her reconciliation with Suzanne Summers. It shows that even in the cutthroat world of Hollywood, relationships can be healed and maintained. They may not be like they were before, but they don't have to remain broken forever. She said herself, "Now it's time to hear from you. Who is your favorite member of the main Three's Company cast? Let us know in the comments section below."